How we doing? It is Cecily here of Operation Fibroid Freedom and Womb Hang Clan and Dance Fit with Cecily. And today we are talking about how you need to get out of your own way, sis. That I am talking to women, my goddesses, who find themselves stuck, seeing no progress, maybe even seeing a lot of setbacks on your efforts to shrink fibroids naturally. You're just not seeing any results. Some of you, maybe, if I'm really hitting the target here, I would venture to say from my own personal experience and on my own natural fibroid freedom journey, some of you have yet to even get started, but you've been talking about this subject and watching a lot of videos about shrinking fibroids naturally from women who have done it, like myself and so many others, but you have yet, for some reason, yet to get started, and you keep saying, eventually I'm gonna do it this time, or after Christmas I'll get started, right? Or I'll start in the spring when I do, I'll start a detox in the spring and I'll start then. This video is for you. You know I'm talking to you. I know it's not nice to point, right? I know you feel me. So, what exactly do I mean when I say get out of your own way? I mean, I'm not saying that it's an easy thing to do. It's by no means an easy thing. I also think for some women it is very easy, because just as much as I've talked about my own story where it took me one solid year of knowing what my process would be in order to bring my body into balance and to support my body's natural processes to expel and dissolve fibroids. I've met so many women in my journey that have told me, you know, I think I passed a fibroid. I didn't even know I had them, but then one day something fell out and I was looking at something in the toilet, or something fell out when they were doing something else, or just in their everyday lives. So like I said, it depends on the woman. For some ladies, it is easy, right? And you don't want to start off by speaking in absolutes or generalizations about the topic, because the more you personalize this, the more, in my experience, the more that you are commanding your own control over your body and over the outcome that you are manifesting in your present, right? In your present life. So anything you hear from me here on this channel is very much going to involve and include a part where we have to factor in the spiritual, the unseen, right? We have to leave space for the miraculous, things that are called miraculous, to occur. Because if, in my, own beliefs, I'm a follower of Jesus, those things are all very much capable, even greater things. If you know, like I do, he says even greater things that we are able to do when we follow him and operate in alignment with that word, with his word, right? So it's just a matter of your own outlook, but you don't want to start off completely ruling out an entire level of miraculous occurrences that can occur in your own health. I've seen it so many times with family members and friends, where people have been told they had illnesses, sometimes terminal surgeries were being called and scheduled, and the day of, prayer happens, and all of a sudden the cause for the surgery disappears. It's no longer showing up. Or the illness that was so serious and pretty much the end is gone, right? So that's also a little bit of backstory on why I have the wherewithal to even approach this subject of fibroids from this standpoint. Some people want to know that. Some people don't need to know that, because they have their own spiritual foundation that they are very much in touch with, and are comfortable operating that aspect and accessing that area of themselves and their existence in this realm on a regular basis, right? But then there are others, and it doesn't matter if it's fine if it's something that's a little more foreign to you, but just knowing and keeping an open mind that the connection to the Most High should always be factored in to come on in and meet you wherever you are with your efforts. So let's get back to the topic at hand, because you know I can go, right? You know I can start talking, and we want to keep these short and sweet. Just like, well, no, I'm not short. About tall and spicy, maybe? Juicy? Tall and... So get out of your own way. So let's jump right into it. Factors that could be sabotaging your efforts to shrink fibroids. And number one is you are listening too closely to outside clamor, outside chatter, outside opinions, outside voices. You're letting them override and letting those voices and those messages be way more audible than your own. If you're watching this video, it is because there is some part of you that is interested, at the very least, interested, curious, wanting to know more about the subject of natural fibroid elimination. And I got a message for you from the divine, from me to you. If you are even mildly interested in learning or curious to know more, as much as you may be afraid of whether or not you can really do it and kind of excited, curiously excited, but also scared because you may have a fear of failure, that inkling of curiosity or smidgen of you wanting to know is your confirmation from the divine, should you decide to choose this adventure, that this is exactly where you are supposed to be and are actually being called to go. See, my goddess, you must understand that as keepers of the sacred womb, we have our own rite of passage that we are called to at different times in our lives and in our journeys while we're here in this realm. When it comes to fibroids, right? Not everybody goes the natural fibroid elimination route. I get that. That's not a big deal. Not everybody's going to choose to shrink fibroids naturally or even attempt. And even those that do attempt, not everybody will succeed. But there is a call. Do you hear that? Did you hear a horn? I heard a horn. Confirmation. There very much is something to be said about there being a call put on your life. There being a call put out, right? There's a call being put out for you to see if you are ready to take a deeper journey, ready to pause, slow down, and listen to your womb speak. Are you ready to finally hear me? She says. That's what the womb is saying, right? Like I said, fibroids are one of the first calls, right? How we choose to proceed after we find out we have fibroids is up to us. But a second call is, will I walk down the natural fibroid freedom path? That's another call that you are being called to answer. So I could go into a whole nother diatribe on that, but I just want to let you know that as a keeper of the sacred womb, which is an exact replica of the abundance and the limitlessness that exists in the heavens, in the intergalactic realms, in space, it's an invite. It's a call for you to be initiated into drawing closer to nature and the part of nature that is also you in nature, to bring your body into balance. Are you going to be able to? Are you up for the challenge? Are you ready to accept this initiation and take this rite of passage to learn more about all of the things, the factors that influence why you developed fibroids, emotionally, physically, of course, the more mundane topics, right? What kind of foods were we eating? You know, what kind of endocrine disruptors were we knowingly as well as unknowingly, inadvertently being exposed to? These things. But in addition to that, are you ready to pick apart the layers that are more hidden and that are more private and that are maybe a little bit more messy, like trauma, like why we are existing every day, and stress and anxiety because there are areas in our life where we are not maybe being authentic to ourselves and to people that we see every day, and we're allowing things to persist in our lives that continue to keep us in this cycle of stress, which leads to imbalance in our hormones, endocrine system, blood sugar, insulin, cortisol, blah, blah, blah. We can talk about things from that level, but then we can also go in more of a natural, well woman route, the goddess route, and start to say, what are the patterns that I see being communicated to myself from my womb, and that are communicating, that are being communicated to me through nature, through or lack thereof in my lifestyle, right? It's an initiation and a call for you to activate the goddess in you, but also the natural woman part of you. So if you are curious, if you can even have an inkling of interest in natural fibroid elimination, that is a message that it is very real, and there is a version of you in another dimension that has already conquered that mountain, overcome fibroids, and is fibroid free. It's just a matter of, will you walk down this path, accept this initiation, and start putting the blocks in place that align with who she is in your life right now. You have to build that bridge by putting those building blocks in place. And those building blocks are what are going to make up your Fibroid Freedom Action Plan. Start to make a little bit of sense, right? It should. And it won't be the same for everybody. If you'd like some help with that, book a 1-hour consultation. If you'd like in-depth help with that, where I help you put together the entire plan, obviously based on you, and we'd have to get to know each other, which is why it is a longer, more in-depth process. It's a 90-day private coaching experience. I'm certainly available to do that in my private coaching program. But reach out to me, because the in-depth work is so necessary. It is a lot, and we are not trained in everyday life, at least I wasn't, to look at things from this perspective, or even to look at ourselves and the different aspects of ourselves, the emotional side of ourselves, right? The non-physical aspects of yourself. We're not really trained in this Western culture anyway to examine ourselves, typically from these points of view. But these are exactly the points where we will begin to establish the protocol upon which you will build your bridge to where you are changing your trajectory and getting into alignment with the you that is in another timeline that is already naturally fibroid free. All right, so I hope that makes sense. And let's go on to my second point. The topic of the video is get out of your own way. Just to recap, point number 2 is because you are clinging too tightly to outdated versions of yourself. Let me explain. Clinging too tightly, holding on too tightly, letting the patterns that and behaviors that led to you developing fibroids still be defining factors of who you are in the present. For example, when I interview a lot of wonderful, beautiful goddesses, inevitably in some of the conversations, we get to diet. We get to talk about what we're eating. What are you eating? Whenever I ask that question, inevitably there will be some who allow, they're very just hardcore, for lack of a better descriptor, when it comes to things that have become foods, types of foods. It's almost like a certain type of food or drinks, alcohol, behaviors, vices have become a stronghold. You need to be able to identify and be honest with yourself if fill in the blank, a certain food, behavior, activity has become a stronghold in your life. So I'll say, you know, what's your diet like? What do you eat? Oh, I don't eat bad. I just occasionally have, I have to have my beef. I have to have beef. Beef has a lot of iron. And then, you know, they're getting a little bit defensive. They immediately default to, I only eat chicken. I don't eat beef. I cut that out. And there's nothing wrong with that, right? But if we're still dealing with fibroids and we've made some changes, and are now just having chicken, we still need to be able to and be flexible enough to make changes yet again and have another plan that we can employ, right? So we need to go to plan C. If we went to plan B and that didn't work, we need to be able to go to plan C. And plan C may be no chicken. Let's go all whole food, plant-based. A better example, allowing yourself to become too comfortable in and set in your ways when it comes to habits, actions, activities, behaviors that you know you need to employ in order to change your life, step into the healthier version of yourself, the version of yourself that doesn't suffer from insulin resistance, right? She is not going to be having wine or alcohol or fill in the blank, right? She's not going to be ordering cheesecakes or having macaroni and cheese in every meal and all that kind of stuff. She's not going to be doing that. She's balanced her hormones. So what habits and actions and activities do you think that she has added, and what do you think she has eliminated in order to get there? And by she, I mean you, and by habits and activities, I mean those that are personal to you and your lifestyle. Where you can get in your own way when you are too rigid and you become like staunch, stubborn, like can't nobody stop me from X, Y, and Z. Well, sis, ain't nobody trying to stop you. You either want to shrink fibroids, you either want to see the success, or you don't. The only person that can stop you is you. It could be like, this is a great example, makeup. Everyone's different. Now, a lot of us don't even wear a lot of makeup, right? So the makeup may not even be a big influencer into what caused for you to develop fibroids. But these are just examples and ways you can personalize this information, because we do love our makeup and lipstick and nail polish. And I know for a fact that we love our brands in those categories. And sometimes those brands do not always use, a lot of times, I don't even know what I'm talking about. Most of the time, the big name brands, as far as I know, I'll have to do a little bit deeper look into this for y'all. But, you know, I mean, they don't be checking for making sure that they use ingredients that don't have endocrine disrupting chemicals. They use them all the time, right? I bought some lip balm the other day. And that's a whole nother thing. But I was like, let me just look at the ingredients on this because I wanted to get something quick. Y'all know I'm an herbalist, but I don't make everything. I should, because there was some dye in the lip balm. I'm like, do we have to put this in here? Like, sometimes you'd be like, really? Did we really have to put this in here? And they're saying it causes all these potential problems in animal testing, you know, which is a whole nother subject. Those are things and areas where we take a lot of possession and a lot of our own personal ownership into these things. Makeup is a big thing. Using MAC lipstick or NARS or Fenty or whatever you prefer, right? Estee Lauder, I don't know, Maybelline, we could go down the list. A lot of us really define ourselves by our choices in the brands and these categories. And this is an example of clinging too tightly, too hard to negative factors that can influence and sabotage fibroid growth, right? And we can continue to change those examples. It doesn't have to be makeup, right? I work out a lot. I'm a group fitness instructor. Y'all know I am a trainer. I do tons of yoga. I work out almost every day. So leggings is a big one. I love a good well-paid. I love a good well-made pair of leggings. I love a well-paid man too. But leggings, materials that we use. We take a lot of ownership in the brand of feminine products. Those can, and a lot of times do have chemicals, do have agents that could be endocrine disruptors. So sometimes we cling too tightly to old patterns, habits, behaviors, brands, foods, actions that we need to be a little bit more detached, a little bit more untethered. Get out of your own way. See what I did there? Get out of your own way. If you see what I did there, put it in the comments. I kind of did it because it's a different movie, but y'all that are about movies, y'all feel me. Y'all know what I did there. I was on the spot too. Some people are very touchy about you getting involved in their foods. Maybe a woman and her husband have a certain type of food that they enjoy when they watch movies together one night. And then she can't enjoy that food because she's on a natural fibroid elimination path. And she sneaks the food and just allows that to be, her time when she has it. But she's still struggling with fibroids. Well, then she needs to reevaluate and actually be a little bit more aware and activate a little bit more self-discipline. And sis needs to nix the food and get out of the mushy feels. And it's okay if you and the hubs don't have the exact same food on your plate, because you're doing something that is greater for you, for your family planning, your fertility, for your saving your womb, which benefits both of you all in the long run. Whether you choose to have children or not, you're saving your womb, you're saving medical bills by making healthier choices and deciding to find a healthier substitution instead of enjoying the gargantuan burgers on movie night. You have a gargantuan veggie burger that you made from scratch. Make it something that is a positive, a good thing, a fun thing, a project, right? A happy thing instead of something negative, right? And also be able to be flexible enough to transmute the negatives, the cons, and focus on the pros with the situation. I hope that makes sense. Let's move on. Number 3, you're self-sabotaging yourself when it comes to shrinking fibroids. If you constantly are consumed by negative thoughts about your situation with fibroids, constantly giving in to limiting beliefs, self-doubt, shaming yourself, allowing yourself to be affected to where just energetically you feel defeated before you even start because of those thoughts, because of those low vibrational thought patterns, then you're definitely in your own way. A word on this, because this is about mindset shifting, which we already talked about in the previous video. So go back over to the video that I just posted last week about self-blame. It says stop blaming yourself or something like that. But remember to recap from that video. Everything has vibrational frequency. And when we are in patterns of self-doubt, shame, guilt, they actually have numerical equivalent when we talk about the vibrational scale, your vibrational resonance. Now that vibrational resonance can be attributed to what your life looks like as you are living it in the present moment, and what your life will look like in the next present moment if you take the time to shift out of those negative limiting thought patterns and beliefs, right? A couple of tips on that are to remember, and maybe when I put out the next video, but I do have a video coming up where I'm going to go into deeper reasons why you shouldn't even be wasting time on the self-blame and the shame, sis, because there's a plethora, I promise you, of other institutions, organizations, social factors, environmental factors that you can throw the blame onto for why you may have developed fibroids, to where it's actually absurd at this point that you even spend time in the self-blame and shame. Because when I tell you, endocrine disruptors are all, baby, they're all around us, okay? They're all around us. Didn't I just mention in the last point, the yoga pants? Imagine me, thinking I'm doing something healthy for my body and just doing all this fun, yummy, self-care, liver detoxifying, hip opening yoga in these pants that are riddled with forever chemicals, with chemicals that they say never disappear. And they are actually concentrated, believe it or not, in the crotch of these leggings, right? So again, it's not you, sis. It's the Twilight Zone realm that we happen to be in. So allow yourself to transmute the negatives into happy, feel-good, positive vibes, and not waste your time trying to constantly find reasons to be negative to yourself. If there was ever a reason to be nothing but loving and gentle and so caring and super romantic and just luxuriously soft and supportive to yourself, it is now. It is now, because there's so many other factors and other things that you could put that energy onto that cause fibroids that have nothing to do with you. So again, allow your, it doesn't sound like it's a good thing, but this is where we activate the power of our goddess mind, and we transmute negative energy and raise our vibration by doing so, finding positive, bright sides to the situation. And when you do that, you can detach from lower vibrations and detach from lower timeline manifestations or lower timeline outcomes in your manifesting, and get closer to her, right? The her that we mentioned before, that is fibroid free, waiting for you to walk across the bridge that you are building right now while you're watching this video. So I hope that makes sense. Self-doubt, self-blame. For what? For what? Literally a waste of time. Guilt gets you nowhere. Doesn't serve anyone. Nobody benefits. Like, nobody wants guilt. Guilt is not going to help you. So why are you feeling guilty? Like, who do you have to answer to that's making you feel guilty? Stop being so hard on yourself and look at yourself like the Most High looks at you, like this most precious jewel and gem. And actually, the more that you're able to do that and make that shift, the higher you vibrate. And the closer you get to seeing miraculous healing, seeing natural wellness occur and manifest in your hormones, in your body, in your womb, with fibroids and beyond, right? So, yeah. The fourth point, I don't even know if this is a separate fourth point, but we're going to tie the video up here. It's procrastination. We've already kind of gone over this, but again, I do want to hammer home procrastination. It's not even getting started. You're defeating yourself because you haven't even gotten started yet, because you are in the analysis paralysis phase, which I'm also a real estate person. I'm a real estate investment agent. If you don't know, you can, side note, go check out my new channel, because I'm bringing that to YouTube now as well in the Atlanta area. Check me out if you're looking to buy or sell. But we talk a lot in the real estate world and in the real estate investment realm, especially because we're all about learning techniques and strategies to buy properties, and investment strategies and techniques, right? But a lot of people get inundated with all of the information. I'm going to get all the information. I'm going to go to all of the podcasts and listen to all the podcasts. I'm going to follow everybody that I see talks about natural fibroid elimination. I'm going to all of the retreats. I'm doing it all, but they may go, but then when it comes down to them, to you, actually taking action in the privacy of your own home, in your own life, when you're by yourself, when nobody's looking, you're not doing it. I'm speaking to you. Get out of analysis paralysis. Stop consuming everybody's plans to shrink fibroids and take action. Take action. You already know what you need to do. You probably don't need any more new information. You just need to implement. So at some point you have to stop planning. It will never be perfect. And that's a fact. That's in life. It will never be perfect. And then you also have to realize that it won't ever be perfect in your execution. So by that I mean your technique will never be perfect, but then the process that you are going to be actively experiencing in your everyday walk on your natural fibroid freedom journey, you are going to experience what goes along with natural, holistic strategies to reverse sickness and disease. And when you do that, there are some patterns that nature will present to you, but you'll never be able to learn from those patterns or experience the ascent and the improvement in your situation with fibroids if you don't ever get started. You'll never learn that this group of herbs actually caused heavy bleeding, but this group of herbs coupled with this behavior change got rid of the heavy bleeding. You won't be able to learn. You won't learn from your mistakes. You won't learn that sometimes on the way to seeing reversal of sickness and disease and fibroids come out and just success when we're talking about natural wellness, sometimes things look worse just before the ailment, the illness, the sickness, the fibroids go away. You'll never learn that if you don't ever get started. So that's from personal experience. So remember, these are just a few tips, a few things. There's plenty of others. Everybody's different, but I wanted to come on and just let you know that it's a process. It's definitely a process, and it involves consistency. And before you even get started, you need to make a commitment. When you're committing to doing something as big as embarking upon a journey to shrink fibroids, a journey to pursue natural wellness, right? You need a why. You need a why that is big, that is bigger than everything. Otherwise, when it gets rough, or when you see the most luscious platter of donuts come your way, you're going to give in. And that's not to say that you can never have a treat. You can never have, I'm not saying that either, but these are just examples from personal experience. But you need to be able to commit and be consistent for a specific window of time that you define and that you crush when you go into that time, or you're eating whole food plant-based, for example, or you're eating whole food plant-based and exercising 3 to 4 times a week. You need to be able to do that for 21 days or 60 days or 90 days, or all of them in increments, right? The first cleanse is 21 days, then you take a break. When you do your second cleanse, it's 60 days, then you take a break. You do a third cleanse, it's a 90-day cleanse. And then in those cleanse windows, you are adhering to all of the rules. And so those rules will not include donuts. That's when you will be avoiding the pan of donuts and operating in your goddess energy and operating in discipline, right? That's just an example. But you got to be able to do that. I hope this video was helpful. If somebody's interested, I will go deeper into that, but you must be ready to make a commitment. It's not about, if you're serious about seeing results, because this is about you. Like, nobody can do the work for you. Nobody can make it real for you. You have to decide if it's really that serious for you, and then make your why, define your why, write it out from there. Set your commitment, put down a date of when you're starting your cleanse window, and then you commit for that time period with your fibroid freedom action plan. All right, but most importantly, if you have not even embarked, you've not gotten started, you got to get out of your own way. And these are a few ways that you may be doing that. All right, my name is Cecily, and if you have any questions, drop them in the comments. If there's some ways that I mentioned, some things that I mentioned that actually hit home, let me know in the comments. Let me know how you are navigating, how you're handling picking yourself up and dusting yourself off and trying again, because that's what you need to do. If you fall down, it doesn't matter. You just don't stay there, right? So we get back up and we get back on it. There's nothing wrong with having setbacks. Remember, you are supported, and don't forget, subscribe to my channel, like this video, comment in the comments, and I will see you on the next video. Peace.